Okay, guys, so welcome back to designing your fitness plan section. So we're going to go through specific things to your goals, which you've already written down in the beginning. We're going to consider how often can you exercise, what level are you starting at, exercise selection, order and volume, and how achievable or interesting it is that for you to do this consistently. So these are the things that we're going to consider, and these are the things that we consider with our clients as well when they start up with us, to make sure that whatever workout plan you set out for them, they're going to continue to be able to adhere to. Training for your goal, you want to think and pick a level really where you're starting at. So beginner, intermediate, or advanced. I suppose even if you're not a beginner, you're also considering the amount of time you've got to put towards this, because this is how we're going to consider how many sessions a week you're going to train for. So 1 to 3 sessions a week is what we've put under beginner, 3 to 4 sessions a week if you're intermediate, and 5+ if you're advanced. So when we put down beginner, intermediate, and advanced, we were mostly considering, I think, the person's ability to recover. However, like I said, when you're considering how many sessions you're doing a week, we are also considering not necessarily just the recovery, but also how much time you've got in the week. What have I done? Here we are. So if you have 1 to 3 sessions a week, then we always program full body splits. So you would be looking at a push, pull, full body, potentially a legs, or another full body mix. I would also say this will depend on your goals as well, because if your goals are, for example, to get strong in a squat or a deadlift, then instead of a push and pull specifically, you would be having a squat day, a deadlift day, and an accessory day, for example. So again, always keep in mind what somebody's goals are. But in terms of being able to recover for 1 to 3 sessions a week, we do recommend and tend to program full body splits, because that way you train the muscles per week to the maximum amount of times, and then you are still able to recover between those sessions. This is low training volume. Like I said, plenty of time for recovery. It mentions avoiding low rep ranges. I think you might have written this side. Do you know why avoid low rep ranges? I would say this is also goal specific. But I guess maybe it was said to avoid low rep ranges because somebody is a beginner. So like Ella mentioned before, if someone's a beginner, we tend to avoid low rep ranges, not just because of them being able to recover, but also it's the confidence of a lifter. So if you haven't quite got down, like, for example, a technique of a deadlift, then you are safer and better off working on a higher rep range, not only because that allows you to practice the movement for more reps until you do nail it and grow your confidence, but also if you do make a mistake, obviously higher rep ranges would mean that you're working on slightly lower weights, so then the risk of injury is lower in general.
But
So I
also
think that
just,
just does.
yeah, before I forget and we move on, I'm just going to add to that
Yeah.
as well that the difference between the beginner, intermediate, and advanced is also their ability to contract their muscles efficiently. So
All right.
that's
Yeah.
why you're going to avoid low rep ranges, because if you're not getting quality contractions yet, if you haven't got a good mind muscle to connection and control over a weight and you're only doing 4 reps, you might be getting 20% really from those reps. So you're not getting
Yeah.
enough stimulus if you're only training 1 to 3 times a week as well.
Yeah. I guess it's like the ability to mentally push yourself as well, isn't it? Because that just comes a lot of the times people start out and they think that they've worked to 10 RPE and they really have not. So if I had a gun to your head whilst you're doing your leg extensions, especially as you're a beginner, you'd probably be able to get like another 10-15 reps out after you've actually stopped. But that kind of ability
Intensity.
to push yourself comes with practice, doesn't it? Yeah, is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah, quality of the contractions and the intensity for a beginner is not going to
Yeah.
be the same as advanced.
Yeah. Going back to the beginner section, this is great for body composition goals. Emphasis is on learning movement patterns. Like I said, yeah, so I guess we've covered everything there. So onto the intermediate section, 3 to 4 sessions a week. This would be an upper lower push pull legs rotation, most likely. Again, like I said, it does depend on somebody's goals. So if you've got strength-based goals, again, you'd be working around building your session plans around those specific lists or movements that you're trying to get strong on. This is now moderate training volume. And as you're intermediate, you can now start using slightly lower rep ranges because you'd have a better control, better ability to push yourself, and better mind-muscle connection as well there. Great for bodybuilding, building strength, not bodybuilding, just generally building strength and muscle, I guess bodybuilding. And then the emphasis for these is on progressive overload. With the progressive overload, because we haven't really quite covered that, progressive overload would mean that every time you repeat a session or a specific exercise from one week to another, you're trying to progressively load more weight onto the exercise. So if you're looking at the total weight lifted, for example, during a set or within 3 sets, you'd want to see that increase from one session to another. So for example, you could do that by doing more reps from one week to the other with the same weight, or you could up the weight even by a fraction and do the same amount of reps. So generally that's progressive overload. Yeah. So going on to the advanced section, this would be 5+ sessions per week. For this, we would probably program body part splits.
We could also,
This is
sorry, for an athlete,
gone, yeah.
so body part splits like for a bodybuilder, but for an athlete outside of that, let's say, I currently play basketball, have done my whole life, and I would now look at my split as like maybe compound, accessory, explosive work or agility work or skill-based work. So we could also look at that if someone watching this is actually like a sports player.
Yeah, for sure. It says excellent recovery here. I think what that wants to say here is that you need to have excellent recovery to be able to do 5+ sessions a week, because there isn't, no point in doing a session if your body's still completely trashed from the session before. Again, we can use the example of girls in CrossFit. Not only is your session not going to be great, it's just going to put further stress onto your body and further prolong how long it's actually going to take you to recover, if ever you stop. Bodybuilding or athletes would be using this. Yeah, like we said, unless you've got a very specific athletic goal, it's probably unlikely that someone's going to be someone's going to be programming this for themselves. And then an advanced person can progress off of low volume, but also tolerate high volume. So at this point, this person would have really good mind muscle connection and recovery as well.